Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Rebecca, and today I have an exciting video for you guys. I recently sat down with Aly, or as she goes by on the internet, the real femme sapien, for an interview, and we spoke about a lot of things. She is an anthropology student, a fiance, and a women's coach. And in this video, we are going to be talking about the modern lies of feminism. We're going to be addressing the question, are women lazy, scared, or misguided? And we're probably going to talk about pregnancy as well. So this is part one. Part two will be releasing this coming Tuesday, and I'm just so excited about this interview. I think it's a good one. If you guys like me and like this channel, please give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe down below because we are so close to 50K. And without further ado, let's get into this interview. Let's deep dive into your story because I've heard your story before, but not a lot of other people have. You do have a YouTube channel, and all of the links will be linked down below. You can find Aly down below on social media. I will have everything linked. But I want you to tell the audience a little bit about your story because you have a very interesting story. So start from the beginning because we want to hear it all, okay?
I suppose I can start with school age. I'll do an abridged version, crash course, Aly Villanueva's life. One of the reasons why I never turned out to be a feminist is because I've been primarily bullied by women, even when I was a small child. And that would be friends, family, and also teachers, which that's when it clicked for me. There's something off here with the female community because as a young girl, I'm getting bullied by adult female teachers. That didn't sit well with me. And that's why when they would come up and they would talk about, oh, the sisterhood and feminism and we have to fight, I'm like, I'm not fighting with you guys. I don't want anything to do with you. You guys seem like horrible human beings. And then I ended up in the manosphere because I realized that I was being bullied by women, but apparently men were being bullied by women too. And we agreed on a lot of similar points. I always considered myself an egalitarianist because I believe that men are just as important as women, and I plan on having children one day, and I can't really choose if I'm going to have a son or a daughter. So I like to be open to the plight of men just as open as I am to the plight of women.
I really like you and appreciate your content because what you do is think very critically. You present the facts, and you're like, facts over feelings. And that's kind of how I am as well. Maybe I'm a little more emotional than you when you present your YouTube videos, but I love that about you because you're very critical and you're a critical thinker, and you present in a way that's almost educational, and I love that. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but
I think so. I think more than anything, I really enjoy mentorship and teaching other people. I never imagined that I was going to be helping women. They've been such a problem for me. And here I am like, how would you like to get married? Let me tell you the steps. Would you like to lose weight? Would you like to be feminine? I didn't see myself ending up in this space, but I'm really glad that I did. And I wanted to pursue it professionally from the education background, but because of the indoctrination that's currently in secondary education systems and universities, it's not like I can get a degree in dating. So I can't go get a master's degree and come back and present it to you. I have to go based off of my own life experience. And I've been knocked down so many times and I've gotten back up, and I've learned a ton along the way. And so that's really where I am able to teach people. But I've been interested in reading academic work to begin with. Just things don't add up for me. And so I will go and I'll look at my .edus and I'll go look, what's the sample size? I don't want to take you guys on this rabbit hole, but there's ways to tell if a study is nonsense. Okay, and you can analyze that, and then you could say, I could see why I feel that way. And that really helped me to understand I'm not crazy for wanting to be a more feminine woman. And a lot of these things are natural. And the professions I've chosen were natural. And I don't need to get a PhD to be happy in life, which is, I thought that for a long time, and it kept giving me anxiety.
oh, I hear you. I thought I needed to be a female boss babe and have billions of dollars in my name to be happy. And turns out, no, that's not that's not what brought me happiness at all. I'm actually someone actually wrote to me in a comment the other day, are you happier now or when you were a feminist? And I would say that I am 100% happier now because I feel like the weight has been lifted off of my shoulders and I have the ability to breathe and actually be who I am and not conform to what society is telling me that I need to be. I've seen so much growth in myself and just taking accountability for the stuff that I literally pushed down to the side underneath the carpet and like below the subfloor. I was like, wow, there was a lot of things that I had to work through. And I'm so happy that I put in the work. It sounds like you also put in the work as well. But do you think that a lot of women today, do you feel like they even know what accountability actually looks like? Or do you think that they're misguided in this sense?
I want to say if women knew they weren't being accountable, they probably would pursue accountability. I think this is very hard for me to explain.
No, it's okay.
It's a much broader concept. Women don't know most of the things that they're doing. And so they don't know that they're dodging accountability. All they know is this feels really gross, so I'm going to ignore it and I'm going to walk away. It's not that there's malicious intent. There's just no self-reflection. And they have to come from a background where that self-reflection was valued. For me and a lot of the interfamilial relationships that I had, I saw a lot of women dodging accountability growing up. And I even saw it again with some of my female teachers and also my female classmates. And so that's just kind of what women naturally do. My fiance, he kept saying, these women at the gym, they're looking at me and they're positioning themselves in provocative ways. And I had to tell him, honey, they don't even know that they're doing it. They don't even know why they're looking at you in the gym. It's mostly just instincts. And for a long time, he didn't believe me. A lot of people still are struggling to understand this concept that women are kind of on autopilot. Most people are on autopilot. We're not really running the show. Our limbic systems are. So is it accountability dodging? Yes, but it's really preserving your self-esteem. And I think that's more of a human flaw. The problem is that we have a gynocentric society where women cannot be corrected because it's going to hurt their feelings. And we shouldn't be hurting anyone's feelings, even if it's for the greater good. I don't see that the issue is the modern woman. I've come to a realization in the past couple of days that it's really the pathological woman, because if we tell women that men are the problem, that they never have to look at themselves. And I think it's embarrassing in the female community that if I was to go to a girlfriend, a female family member, or even just an acquaintance who wasn't doing okay, and I said, hey, I think you need to get into talk therapy, they get really up in arms. And I don't think that's an inappropriate response, because a lot of women are not doing mentally well. Maybe it's modernity, but I've also tracked from the CDC that women are starting to express more neuroses, so like depression, anxiety, in comparison to men, and they're able to track these things. So it's a fairly recent phenomenon. We're not doing as well as guys. And I want to say specifically, there's examples that you can look at. Draw your own distinctions from it. You can do your own research. You can form your own opinions. That's definitely allowed. But we can see that female teenagers are doing horrible compared to male teenagers with the introduction of social media. So we know that there's female problems, but we don't want to hurt their feelings, so we're just going to let them burst into flames. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with everything that you just said. I think that with this whole feminist movement, really, I guess I would say modern feminists, right? Because what I've been seeing today and what I've also been noticing is that the language has changed a lot, okay? So just like these younger women and even young boys in the educational systems today, right? We're seeing intersectionality play out in all aspects of education and all aspects of life, right? So what's happening with the feminist movement is the first wave and second wave, maybe second wave feminists believed in the socioeconomic equality of the sexes, right? Mm-hmm. Today, we're telling women through the feminist movement, we're saying we don't want equality of opportunity anymore. We want equality of outcome. So there's a picture of like people standing on a step stool. I don't know if you've seen this.
I have seen it. We see the same memes. We have a lot in common.
Yeah, we have a lot in common. So equality of outcomes is essentially giving more to someone with less so that they can be at the same level as the other person that came into the game with more, right? And so modern feminists are preaching this to women, and throughout the decades, we've just seen women deteriorate over time. We're seeing so many women on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medication. More women are turning to alcohol. I don't know if you've seen the studies on it, but more women are drinking now than most men. And you would think the rise of feminism, the rise of social media, all of these things working towards women are more liberated now than they were first wave, maybe second wave feminists, right? But yet we are less happy as women. So it boggles my mind that people still come to the conclusion that feminism works.
I have my opinion.
I would love to hear your opinion on this.
Feminism just doesn't work. I've come out multiple times as not being a feminist on campus, but it simply doesn't make sense. I've gone out there, I've done the boss babe thing in terms of the military, where you were paid equal amounts of money for the same promotions. But guess what the standards change at? Based on your sex. So my push-ups were less than a man's. However, the sit-ups were about the same, and the 2-mile run was incredibly in a woman's favor. I'm talking now as a civilian, I've run way faster than I had to in the military to pass a physical fitness exam. And you'll see it too. They've even had to reform the new Army Combat Fitness test because women were failing it like flies. And people like to think women didn't have opportunity, but women always had the opportunity. When I served, I joined in 2014. Women had the opportunity to go to combat. You just had to pass the same physical fitness standards as men, and you had to apply for those positions, so there was competition. So, but I mean, that's just one very small segment of where feminism is a lie, but we could see feminism is a lie on campus as well. They keep trying to tell women that we're oppressed and we don't have equal access to an education. But I see on sidewalks written plain and clear, there are tons of scholarships being thrown at women for STEM, none for men. I never see advertisement of that. And for every one man that graduates with a degree, 2 women are graduating with a degree. So it's just doesn't make sense. I don't feel oppressed. And I think when you accept that narrative that you are oppressed, first of all, that makes you inferior. So then you go through life living inferiorly to others, deferring to others, never coming into your own confidence. But I felt a weight lift off my shoulders when I was able to say out loud that I am anti-feminist, that I am egalitarian, because no one's going to tell me that I'm oppressed. I've gone through so much in my life. I've survived several abuses. I've had an autoimmune disease. I've served in the military. I've been divorced. I've been through it. And none of those things really made me feel dispossessed. Every time I get up faster, I am more proud of what I've overcome. But I wouldn't be able to have such a healthy narrative about my life and my struggles if I bought into feminism.
Yeah, because feminism bases everything off of being a victim. But at the same time, through that victimhood mentality, there is a sense of entitlement that comes with it, right? Mm-hmm. It's shocking, right? Because because this is what I experienced when I just put out my story as well. I know that you put out your story on your YouTube, but I finally told like the tell-all story of how I went from feminist to more traditional. And, you know, being in these big cities like New York, Miami, LA, this hustle culture that comes with feminism as well, it's like a package deal. And what they promote and what they teach, and when I say they, I mean other women, advisors, coaches, board members, other founders, a slew of women, right? At every women's conference, the number one thing I heard, we don't have enough funding, we don't have enough of this, we don't have enough of that because of the white man. Because white men are taking all of our opportunities, all of our funding, all of our everything. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, because I'm a Latina woman, I'm a woman, and my co-founder is a woman of color. We should be ticking all of our we tick all of your boxes and still not getting funding. But what I didn't understand, and what I think a lot of women don't understand, is that the market dictates who wins and who loses. Capitalism dictates who wins, who loses. And it's based off of timing, it's based off of a team, it's based off of all of these different factors, right? But in that world that I lived in, it was, you need to sit at the table. You are given, like, that is your right to sit at that seat, right? You worked your butt. I'm like, but did I? But did I work as hard as someone else? Why do I was questioning myself. I'm like, I mean, I work really hard, but why do I get to sit here and not that person who equally worked as hard? And it goes back to this equity thing, right? Equality of outcomes, because that's what modern day feminism wants. And with the intersectionality of it, we don't even know, there's no baseline. There's no baseline on what women actually looks like or what a woman actually is, because there's no actual definition anymore. We are birthing people. We are menstruating people. We are chest feeders now. And that is what the goalpost keeps getting moved up, right? Mm-hmm. It keeps getting further and further and further from the actual cause, to the point where people don't even know how to define what feminism is.
Not at all. I challenge a feminist. Get into contact with one of us and then tell us what feminism is. Really bring it to a core here. Let us know. We're curious.
You did a video called "Are Women Lazy, Scared, or Misguided?" And I really loved that video because you bring up a lot of statistics. Again, I love the statistics in the videos. So what do you think, what is your conclusion to that?
I would say that they are all three. Not all women are going to be in that lazy category, but for example, I have some of my girlfriends and they truly believe they have what it takes to be an entrepreneur. And then you ask them what they want to do and they say they want to sell t-shirts on Instagram. But these same women do not have the discipline that it takes to set a schedule for content creation, to go out there and do the research for 1 or 2 hours a day on YouTube to figure out how to be better at marketing. So I know that these dreams are going to turn out to be nothing. Or women that want to say that they're a CEO of something, which that has to carry some weight with it. You can't just throw that word CEO around. You have to be making at least $60,000 a year, in my opinion, because you can support yourself all alone on that one income and live comfortably off of $60,000 by yourself. If you're not making $60,000 a year from your side hustle, that's not what's going on here. You're not a CEO of anything. So there's an element of female delusion that's going on, and it's because we don't have enough courage to say, honey, I think your dreams are a little bit off. Like, can we guide you to something a little more realistic? But some of these women also don't have fathers, and we know how much mothers are hesitant to critique their children because it hurts their feelings. So that's what I meant by, are they lazy? Some of them are in absolute denial, and they really feel like one day on Instagram, this $1 million deal is going to show up on their doorstep.
I actually agree with that.
Thank you.
I thought that lazy meant they don't work hard, in the sense of like, more women are graduating college, more women are in the work field, more women are in these positions. So I would agree to that. There is a sense of delusion that we're seeing in women because it goes back to this entitlement thing. I know from like being a CEO of my own company, it takes 10 years for a business to actually take off. But continue going. So speak about women being scared, because I have thoughts on this as well.
We have so many opinions.
We have so many thoughts.
I've heard women tell me why they're postponing kids, and it just sounds like nonsense. I'm not here to force women, you should be a mother. If you're not maternal, or it's really not in the cards for you, fine. Also, be open to your mind being changed, because a lot of things seem to happen randomly. You might fall in love at 42. You never know. It can happen. But they've told me that they're scared of childbirth as if we weren't designed for it. That's what trips me up to the core, because I know I've seen other women give birth. Matter of fact, women used to give birth outside of hospitals, at home, and the human species survived for a very long time. It was fine. There were higher mortality rates, so it's even safer now to give birth than it used to be. That's what I've heard in terms of fear, but I had someone tell me one time, well, I don't know if I could have a kid because I would have to be sober for 9 months. I was like, oh, no, you didn't say that. But at the same time, I was like, please don't have a child. Don't feel obligated. Maybe it's not for you, sis. Like, it's okay. So that's part of being scared, and also women with their personal traumas being concerned about how to raise children. I had similar thoughts. I remembered being scared to have a daughter. I wasn't particularly scared of having a son, but I had gone through such an abusive background. I really considered, am I going to be able to hold my temper when it comes to a child? I'm so worried that I'm going to end up abusing my own child. And that's when I just had a little come to Jesus meeting. I got into some therapy, and now that I'm in a secure and more traditional relationship, I don't have that fear, because I am now confident enough that if I do get that angry, I'm going to walk away. I've studied childhood development. I'm always working on my own cognitive rewiring. And my fiance would not let it slide. If I was getting even slightly more than was necessary in aggression, he would call me out on it. So a lot of these women who are scared, I think they would stand to greatly benefit just by having a secure male partner as their backup, as their leader, if they so choose, if they want him to be the leader. But good luck being the leader of your household and still being attracted to your man. That's all I have to say about that one.
No, that is so true. It's interesting too, because we were just talking before we started the recording, and I was like, I am 16 weeks away from delivering my first child, my first baby, and I'm having a girl. And like you, I had a lot of thoughts and uneasiness. I low-key freaked out for a little bit, but now I'm so grateful that I have the opportunity to raise a girl first as my first child. And I have my husband here to support me and to walk through this with me. And he is so much better with children than I am. And I will
say it. It's fine.
It's so crazy. Like, he is so good with children. And I know that she's going to be raised in love and understanding what a man's love is and what these things look like, right? Because he's present in her life. He talks about how he's going to take her on daddy-daughter dates and all of these other things. And I find that so, like, I literally am more attracted to my husband now, knowing that he wants to do those things. He watches Daddy University on YouTube.
Oh, that's so cute.
But that's the thing, is like, having a man in the household, having a secure partner and someone there who is the leader, who can guide the family, is so important. And you touched on that as well. I went from being the controlling wife at the beginning of my marriage, and even going from premarital counseling into marriage, I was still very much like, I need to control everything. Like, my life, like, this is how I want everything done. Like, and I realized that I had to let these things go. We had our roles dictated already before we walked into marriage. I knew that my husband doesn't know how to pick up after himself. I know that I do the laundry better, and that I do the dishes better, and that I have a specific way that I like to do it. You actually spoke about this recently as well. But I want you to speak about how you transition into being a more traditional wife or traditional fiance, because I know you guys live together, in a sense. So
I ended up stumbling into femininity. What it was I was recently divorced, and I was not mentally doing okay. When I say I had a hard life, I don't want to like emphasize it and be like, oh man, it was horrible, but sociologically speaking, I check so many boxes. And I wasn't coping well with life, but I had fallen in love with my fiance, and I was really staring at, I'm the problem. If I don't get my crazy together, it's going to be an issue. And that's really hard when you go through such traumatic experiences and it rewires your brain in a certain way where the person you love can even look like your enemy. For a long time, I would misread my fiance's assertion as potentially abusive. Mm-hmm. And you know what sucks is you go to your girlfriends and you say, I can't believe he's doing this. Like, I think it's abusive. And they're sitting here and they're echoing it. But then you go to therapy, your therapist is looking at you like, honey, that's a boundary. And you're like, what? So that was a portion of it.
Shocking.
Absolutely. So I really had to rein in on my mental health, and I was exploring different methods of peace and what it meant to live this life as a woman. And I discovered, why don't I try being feminine and soft? What is this about? I knew that Western gender roles and traditional roles were dictated from Christian faith, and I grew up in a Christian background. Probably not in the most healthiest of contexts, but I have more power and autonomy, and it's my personal relationship with Christ right now. But it started looking at what women were commanded to be from the Bible, and it made sense to be sober of emotion, sober of mind, and actually sober of alcohol. Sobriety meant so many different things, and I just knew that that was something that was going to resonate for me, and that was the next step into my life. That's actually how I ended up coming across your channel. That was the phase I was in when I came across your stuff. And then I started doing feminine acts, and it was really changing things for me. My relationship was night and day because I was always combative with him or trying to dominate him or distrustful of him, just creating my own chaos in my own mind. So I went looking for feminine commentators, content creators, and mentors, and I got them. They're all over Instagram. It's a niche community, but it exists. And so if you're out there and you're tired of being a hardened woman, because I was tired of being absolutely on point at all times, I don't want to lean in. I want to lie down. So that's my journey.
I love